out-of-towner drove his car into a ditch in a desolated area. Luckily, a local farmer came to help with his big, strong horse named Buddy. He hitched Buddy up to the car and yelled, "Pull, Nellie, pull!" Buddy didn't move. Then the farmer hollered, "Pull, Buster, pull!" Buddy didn't respond. One more time the farmer commanded, "Pull, Jennie, pull!" Nothing. Then the farmer nonchalantly said, "Pull, Buddy, pull!" and the horse easily dragged the car out of the ditch. The motorist was most appreciative and very curious. He asked the farmer why he called his horse by the wrong name 3 times. The farmer said, "Oh, Buddy is blind, and if he thought he was the only one pulling, he wouldn't even try." Doctor: "Does it hurt when you do this?" Patient: "Yes, doctor." Doctor: "Well, don't do that." Two neighbors were talking about work when one asked, "Say, why did the foreman fire you?" The second replied, "Well, you know how a foreman is always standing around and watching others do the work? My foreman just got jealous. People started thinking I was the foreman." 3 patients in a mental institution prepare for an examination given by the head psychiatrist. If the patients pass the exam, they will be free to leave the hospital. However, if they fail, the institution will detain them for 7 years. The doctor takes the 3 patients to the top of a diving board overlooking an empty swimming pool and asks the first patient to jump. The first patient jumped head first into the pool and breaks both arms. Then the second patient jumps and breaks both legs. The third patient looks over the side and refuses to jump. "Congratulations, you're a free man. Just tell me, why didn't you jump?" asked the doctor. To which the third patient answered, "Well, doc, I can't swim." A woman goes to a psychiatrist and says, "Doctor, you've got to do something about my husband. He thinks he's a refrigerator." "I wouldn't worry too much about it," the doctor replies. "Lots of people have harmless delusions. It will pass." "But you don't understand," the woman insists. "He sleeps with his mouth open, and the little light keeps me awake." Ever wonder about people who paid $2 for a bottle of Evian water? Just spell Evian backwards. A redneck, a preacher, and a lawyer are traveling in a car when it breaks down in front of a farm. They ask the farmer if they could spend the night. The farmer said, "Sure, but my guest room only has room for 2. One of you will have to sleep in the barn." The preacher says, "I don't mind being with God's animals. I will sleep in the barn." An hour later, there's a knock on the guest room door. It's the preacher. He says, "I can't stand that noisy chicken. Could I switch with one of you?" The redneck says, "There are always loud animals back in Alabama. I can take it." An hour later, there is a knock on the guest room door. It's the redneck. He says, "I can't stand that smelly cow. Could I switch with one of you?" The lawyer says, "Well, I guess that leaves me." An hour later, there's a knock on the door. It's the chicken and the cow. David: "My wife beats me, doctor." Doctor: "Oh dear, how often?" David: "Every time we play Scrabble." A man in Orange County Municipal Court had been ticketed for driving alone in the carpool lane. He claimed that the 4 frozen cadavers in the mortuary when he was driving should be counted. The judges ruled that passengers must be alive to qualify.